sulfur.
Would you go back to mercury, sulfur, and heavy metals if this doesn't go through?
Yes, because we are permitted for those.
What are your credentials to speak on dioxins?
I'm an electrical engineer. I have a technical background, 4-year degree in engineering.
What are your medical credentials to speak on dioxins?
Well, medical is, well, if we're not creating dioxins, then why do we need to consult a medical professional about the harmful effects of dioxins?
Why are dioxins listed as one of the emissions, the 1842 manual?
Because there's different types of biomass.
Twisted
And
over.
where?
Go ahead and finish your report to the council.
All right. Well, I have talked to local doctors. Like I said, they are concerned, but they also don't realize that they don't know everything there is to know about combustion and power plants. So they don't feel like coming out for or against the power plant because they're just not. That's not their area of expertise. Why would they want to come out and make a big statement about it when they don't know that much? So that's basically what they're telling us is they trust us, and the city council. That's what they're telling me, and they respect us, and they think we will make the right decision for the city of Jasper. The thing about not displacing coal, well, there's only so much power on the grid, and whatever's on the grid gets used. So if we generate renewable energy, that's energy somewhere else that's not being produced, because only so much can be used on the grid. And if we are producing renewable energy, that's probably, in Indiana, that's coal energy that's not being produced. Twisted Oak, their website, JasperCleanEnergyCenter.com. That was put out for informational meetings. It was put out about the same time as we had the informational meeting on February 8th. So that's the reason it was put out there, is because they wanted to get the information, the facts out to the public. Property values. This is not like Crawford County, where it was a green space that was being converted to a power plant. This is an existing power plant, an operational power plant. It's been there for 40 years. The people that have bought houses there, it was there. When they sell their house, it'll be there. It's not, shouldn't make any difference, I would think, on the selling of their property based on the fact that it's been there for 40 years. As far as Alec and his question that was never answered, all the members of the team stayed afterwards, after the meeting, and allowed people to come up and discuss questions that they didn't get answered. And I really didn't see very many people. Very few people went up and talked to those people after the meeting. So I don't understand, if you had questions, why you wouldn't go up and get your question answered at that time.
It was a 3-hour meeting,
At least.
you changed the format.
I tried to get a question answered, and they were kind of busy and shushed me off too. So.
Go ahead and answer my question.
For Maine when they had to rush back to Illinois.
Yeah, they told me he had to get on a plane.
Yeah. The power purchase agreement, that was, the power will be sold, and the premium that they will get is because, and kind of the big driver of this project is renewable energy. Most states, Indiana doesn't, but most states have renewable standard portfolios, and that means that power plants, power producers have to provide a certain percentage of their capacity from renewable energy. And renewable energy can be solar, wind, and all that, but biomass. Solar and wind are good, but they're not reliable, and there's not enough of it. California they met their renewable portfolio standard. Solar was 1% of the 20% that they received. Wind was a very high percentage. They did a lot of wind because they're on the coast and they have a lot of wind. And biomass was one of their big players too, in order for them to meet those renewable portfolio standards. And the power plant, in such that it can produce power on a consistent basis, is very valuable to those companies from a renewable standard. So it does have some value, more value probably than wind and energy, even because of its consistent nature. It's reliable, it's there all the time. We look at those funds, and if there's money available in those funds that we can use for projects and things like that, it could affect the rates for our customers. It kind of depends on what the Utility Service Board wants to allocate those funds for, but it could be used, unlike Crawford County where they didn't get any money besides taxes from their proposed project. Our proposed project will actually get some payments, and we could use that to offset energy costs. The way we're looking at it is, if we do get this money, it could help Jasper from an economic development standpoint, because most other cities won't have that extra income coming in. The other cities in IMPA that don't have power plants, they're going to be paying the IMPA rate, or be charged the IMPA rate, whereas we possibly could use some of this revenue from the power plant to offset those rate increases, so we could have lower power than some other cities that don't have a power plant.
But you also might mention we have our own water department and wastewater. We won't be purchasing that from outside, or they won't. Church and Oak won't be purchasing, they'll have to buy it from us.
Right. Renova Capital, and Alec mentioned that they reside in a residential area, and when they submitted their information, that was true when they submitted to the SEC. But on April 10th, 2010, they moved to a nice, on the 3rd floor of the office building in downtown Denver. It looks like a pretty nice neighborhood, nice commercial neighborhood. So I think Alec was misinformed there, as far as he wasn't up to date on that information. Also, Alec mentioned the 32 megawatts of Miscanthus generation. We never, ever, ever said we're going to produce 32 megawatts using all of Miscanthus. There's a 32 megawatt turbine. Half of that, 15 megawatts, will be coming from the boiler, burning Miscanthus. That's all it's sized for. This other 17 megawatts will be coming from waste heat from the gas turbine, which will be converted into steam, which will be combined with the steam from the biomass boiler, and will drive this 32 megawatts generator, steam generator. Alec, it's been in all the information, all the proposals, that has never changed. On the water, we've mentioned this a number of times. I mentioned it at the informational meeting. Our water plant has the capacity to handle this. We look forward to it because we lost the old power plant as one of our best customers. And our water plant, it doesn't cost that much more to make the extra water. It's all that overhead, the fixed cost of the equipment and everything else. To make more water, you just need a little bit more chemical expense. So the more water we make, actually, the better it is for the profit, or for our power plant. The more revenue we make with the less amount of overhead. So that could help stabilize water rates in Jasper, actually, by having that big customer back. Wastewater, we also did a study on that. Ed Hollenden did it for me. And we looked at the water from the old plant and compared it what the projections were for the new plant, and they were almost equal. Some variation depending on types of operation modes. But so we have plenty of capacity to handle that. They even mentioned some days they could use a little more water. On Saturdays and Sundays when the flow is low, they said, you know, it'd be kind of nice to have a little more water in here to help our plant run a little better. So that's not a concern from us. But the people who are familiar with Crawford County seem to keep bringing that up because they're trying to put us in the Crawford County mode when we're not.